Hello and welcome to another video by Marconi Ted. Today I'm going to talk about the batteries that were used in the Marconi moisture meters. In the Model A, the original owner's manual referred to the battery used on the low tension side, or the LT side, as 1.5 volt battery, commonly known as the flag cell, and this is it. It was also known as a number 6, a BT11, a DM504, a DB8014, or an LR40, but I think we'll call it the flag cell for now. It's quite a big battery, it's quite a big heavy battery, but it's only 1.5 volts. The other one that was used in the Model A originally, and in the manual itself, it refers to a 45 volt battery. It was an Eveready V104. Well, that became obsolete, so they started to use the next size up, which happened to be a 67.5 volt battery, which later appeared in the instruction manual for the Model B. Well, this is a modern equivalent of the 67.5 volt battery. There's a couple here. So these were definitely used in the Model B, but quite often they were used in the Model A's because you couldn't get hold of the 45 volt, and they work just as well. So but now these are quite hard to come by, the 67.5 volt. So what do you do? Well, you can make your own up. The flag cell itself, when Eveready stopped making them, other manufacturers did have a go at making them, and I think they are still available to some specialist battery sellers. But when you open one of these up, one of these modern ones up, it's actually made up of two of the your normal household D batteries, which are soldered together in parallel, so they remain as 1.5 volt. So these are 1.5 volt each, and two of them soldered together in parallel with a bit of expanding foam, a bit of wire. Put the cap back on, and there you go. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for two of these, and there are many manufacturers out there who've been making them up, and that's all they are inside. So rather than going to the expense and the time consumingness to make something up that looks like the original, you can just get hold of a battery holder for these D type batteries, and they'll sit nicely in there, and just connect them up in parallel. So positive to positive and negative to negative, and there you go. That is the modern equivalent of one of those. So what about the 67.5 volt battery? Surely you can't make that up. Well, you can, because these old batteries, which aren't the original ones, when you take these apart, they are just made up of PP3 batteries, just 9 volt PP3 batteries that are soldered together in series. So there you go, there it is. Can you see this? Move these out of the way. So inside here you've got 7 9-volt PP3 batteries soldered together in a nice cardboard container. And this is one that the late Dr. Eggleton used to sell, and this also is a nice cardboard container which is made up of 7 9-volt PP3 batteries, but this time they're not soldered together with individual leads, they're actually soldered together just with bits of wire in parallel and then wrapped up nicely in a cardboard homemade battery case, and there you go. That's what they were selling as the 67.5-volt battery. So the Model A only needs 45 volts to operate, but there's no harm in putting a 67.5-volt battery on it. So an easy way of, if you don't want to go to the trouble of putting it in a nice cardboard box which makes it look like the original, you can get yourself a nice box and solder 5 9-volt batteries in series, plus your 2 1.5-volt batteries for your LT side in parallel, which is nice. This is one that came in a one of the many moisture meters. This is, somebody's made this up. It's a nice tidy job. If you don't want to have the hassle of doing that, an even easier way is to take 5 of these PP3 batteries, and you can actually just push them together. You can daisy chain them. There you go, and there's 5 connected together, and all you need now to do is get some insulation tape and make sure you tape it together so it can't move around and short, and then just connect a wire to the positive side, another one to the negative side, and there you are. There's 45-volt battery. So one of those and one of those will replace one of those and one of those. So what about the Model C and D? Well, they're much easier because they're not valve based, they are transistor based, so their power requirement is much lower. So let's move this out of the way. Here we've got a Model C, and to get to the Model C batteries, just need a screwdriver and undo the handle. So take the handle off, screw on the other side, take the handle off, and then just open it up. Which reveals the battery compartment. Pop open that battery compartment, and this is where your 2 9-volt batteries, your PP3s will sit nicely in there and connected to these two here. So that's and then you just pop them in, and make sure you put the cover back on, like so. And that was the Model C. Now the Model D, the last of the Marconi moisture meters, used two 9-volt batteries again, but you didn't have to take the handle off to access them. On the Model D, they had a nice little battery compartment at the back, which you could just pop open, put your battery in, so you didn't have to mess around taking the handle off. So that's the C and the D. Now, the one thing to remember is that when these batteries get old and lose their charge, they start leaking, and that is one of the biggest killers for these Marconi moisture meters, is the battery corrosion. So just out of for an example, here's a Model A where the batteries have been left in, allowed to leak, and then you've got all this corrosion then, and it eats away the aluminium, and so we have to deal with that and treat it and try and get it back. So what I suggest is that whatever batteries you put in, you put them in a plastic bag, and so say your D's in parallel go in one bag, and your PP3s in series go in another bag. And then if they do leak, they'll only leak into the bag and not into the casing of the moisture meter. Originally they did say in the user manual that the 1.5-volt batteries, these flag cells, would last at least 500 working hours or 6 months use if the instrument is switched off when not in use. The 45-volt or the 67.5-volt battery, they advise that was changed every year. But most importantly, when you finished harvest and you're not going to use the moisture meter again until the following harvest, is take the batteries out, disconnect them and take them out. That way your batteries won't run down and you won't forget about them, and they won't leak and ruin the casing of your moisture meter. Okay, I hope that's been a little bit of help. What I advise, the easiest thing to do with, especially with the A's and the B's, is to get them converted to mains, and then you don't need to mess around every year with batteries, making them up and sourcing all the bits and worrying about them going flat. Is just have a mains conversion done. The C's and the D's, they're fine because it's just two nice simple 9-volt batteries, so you don't really need those converted to mains. And most of the time the A meters don't actually leave a grain shed, so there's no reason why they can't be made into mains. If you require your meter converted into mains, or you need spares or repairs for your meter, please get in touch, either in the comments, or you can contact me via my website, marconited.co.uk, and I'll be very happy to help. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good harvest.